Good evening, everyone. This is Tamarac Commissioner Mike Gelin. Glad to have you on today on this Facebook Live conversation with the Commissioner. June is Men's Health Month, and today we're going to have a conversation with a local Tamarac fire captain, Captain Tony Chin. He will share a little bit about his experience and talk about the importance for us as men to do a better job of taking care of our health. Based on the Center for Disease Control, 40% of men over the age of 20 are obese. 15% of men over the age of 18 smoke. 14% of men over the age of 18 are in either fair or poor health. It's widely known that women in general do a better job of taking care of themselves than we do, and we certainly need to do a better job of taking care of our health. So today we're going to talk about men, health, fitness, and taking proactive steps to make sure that we do what we can to live a healthier lifestyle. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Captain Tony Chin from the Tamarac Fire Department.
Thank you, Commissioner Gelin, and thank you for the opportunity to speak about something near and dear to my heart.
I like that. Thank you for your time. I know you have a wife, you have a family, you work. So thank you for taking the time to share your story with the community. And before we get to that, let's just talk about yourself. Tell us about who you are. How long have you been with the Tamarac Fire Department?
Okay, I've been with the Tamarac Fire Department next month, going on 25 years.
Wow.
I grew up here in Coral Springs. I was actually a Coral Springs volunteer when I was 19 years old. So I actually started my career in the fire service relatively early. And then I said to myself, I wanted to do this as a career and applied to the Tamarac Fire Department and got hired in 1996.
Okay, very good. What was that process like, going from your decision to become a firefighter, taking the courses, going to school, and actually getting hired?
So it was rigorous, and it's even harder now, but it was rigorous back then. And I was working for a private ambulance company. I was also a volunteer. I was trying to go to college at the same time, but I thought that, these classes would really, from a professional standard standpoint, be something that I would really want to do and look forward to. So you start off with EMT and you go for that for about 3 or 4 months. Then you go to fire school. Fire school could be anywhere from 3 months to 6 months, depending on accelerated programs and not accelerated programs. And then you go into paramedic school, and that's where you really learn a lot of the tricks of the trade and what we really do on everyday calls. And that's going to be 14 months. So for me, it was probably about a 2-year endeavor, and I had to invest a lot of time, take a lot of time away from my family. Luckily, my parents invested the money for me to go to school and do those things. And it paid off in the long run because I had a long career with Tamarac.
That's good. What was the financial commitment? What's the financial commitment like to become a firefighter?
So you're looking at about, for EMT, $2,500, $3,000. Fire Academy is $4,500. Paramedic programs could be anywhere from $7,000 to $10,000. So you might be in the area of 20 grand by the time you actually get everything that you need. And I'm not even talking about, little EVOC classes here and there, CPR, advanced cardiac life support classes that you have to take that could run $250 each. So you're easily a $20,000 investment just to even apply to these departments. And, in the Tri-County area, we are the most competitive place to get hired as a firefighter paramedic. We probably only hire the top 3 percentiles. Because we have so many people that are around here. A lot of people get certified here and go to other parts of the state, other parts of the country, and become very, very successful. But it's extremely competitive to get hired here in Broward, Palm Beach, and Miami-Dade. And if you do get hired, you're the elite of the elite. You're the best that tested that day.
Wow, that's excellent. So you decided at age 19 that you want to be a firefighter. But you also understand that there's a risk of death in becoming a firefighter. And we all saw that with 9/11. That was so visible for America and the world to see. What is it in you that said, I'm willing to take on this job, knowing that in a worst case scenario, I could be walking to a door one day and not come back?
So, I think everyone has it in their fiber that they want to help someone. But to be a firefighter, you actually have to take it to the next level. You actually have to have in your fiber that you're willing to put your life on the line, possibly lose your life for the betterment of somebody else. And I feel that if you have that in you, then you will be an amazing firefighter. If you don't have that in you, then there's plenty of other great jobs that are out there that just this job may not be for you. But it's a sense of service. It's when I put this uniform on every third day, I know that I could put my life on the line that day. But I will tell you one thing: the citizens of Tamarac are going to be safe because I put this uniform on. And that's the important factor. And I think as a young firefighter, when I was 19, I accepted that particular challenge. And I said to myself, no one's going to get hurt or die on my watch. And that's what's going to happen. And I think you have to take that mentality, as you grow through your positions within the fire service. And if you don't, then you're not going to be very successful. But I think that anyone who puts on this uniform has made sacrifices, right? Whether they are sacrificing their health, whether they're sacrificing time with their family, whether they're sacrificing their own lives. And we know in 9/11, the 343 firefighters who were going up, the Twin Towers to try to save those people. They made the ultimate sacrifice for the betterment of those people that were in that tower. And I think that's in your moral fiber. And I think a lot of people have that, and some people don't. But for me, being young and growing up in this service, that was instilled in me by my instructors back in the day, 1992, 93, when I was in fire academy. And I've accepted that challenge, and I did my time and, did a decent amount of time doing it. And I think that's what you have to know if you're trying to get into the fire service. You're willing to make that sacrifice, and it could be the ultimate sacrifice.
Right. So let me ask you, just as a firefighter who did watch 9/11, I mean, did you know or believe that building was going to go down? And could you imagine yourself running into a building like that, knowing that it's possible that building can go down?
So, I'm well traveled. I do a lot of teaching. I know some FD&Y people. They have had multiple structure fires in the Twin Towers multiple times.
I see.
They were able to, put those fires out, and they never thought anything was going to go down like that. Obviously, it's in the back of your mind that any structure that you're going to be going into could possibly fail. You could possibly be trapped. And that's unfortunately the challenges that we face, whether it's new construction or old construction. Collapse could be impending depending on the intensity of the fire and how the fire progresses. So I don't think those guys and girls ran in there thinking that was going to be a collapse. But I will tell you this, knowing FD&Y and the traditions that they had and the amazing firefighters and the amazing instructors that they were willing to take that chance for a reason. And that's because of their training. That's because of their moral fiber. That's because that was instilled in them by the people that came before them to do that. And I would tell you that I would say probably if they would have to do it again, unfortunately, you would still have people that were going to take that chance and run up there and try to save those people because that's who they are. Right.
No, I believe that. And so you made the decision at 19, but at 19, you were not married or a parent. So tell us about your family structure now, and does your wife have to adopt that mentality or accept the fact that, hey, he's in a job that is very dangerous?
Yeah. So fortunately for me, my wife actually worked in the administration office of a fire department within our city. And she understood the risks when we met. She understands what I go through. She knows the inner workings of the fire department and what I deal with on an everyday basis. Now, whether or not she accepts that's going to be something that, she has to understand. But understanding that's my job, and people have good jobs and people have bad jobs. And I have a great job. I have an amazing job, but there are risks with that particular job. And, we say that we go to shift every third day, but you know what? Our family goes to shift every third day too, whether they're at home taking care of my daughter, whether my mom is calling me and my parents are calling me, hey, how's your day or whatever. And everybody who puts the uniform on, just because we're not at the house, it doesn't mean that we're not at shift. So I tell my family, hey, they're on shift too when I'm at the fire station. And she's accepted it for the most part. She understands it's a dangerous job. She understands that, there is a chance that she gets a phone call and something that happens. My daughter is only 20 months old, and she doesn't understand. But when she sees the uniform on, even at 20 months, she runs up to me, she hugs me, she kisses me, and I say, Olivia, or Livy, we call her. I'll see you tomorrow. She's like, bye, Daddy, and then that's it. So she knows. And I FaceTime with her at the fire station, and I tell her, I'm at the fire station today. I'll see you tomorrow. She's like, okay. So the family structure with me, they understand, and whether or not they like it, unfortunately, that's the job that we chose. But I think they adapt, and like I said, just because I'm on shift, my family's on shift as well.
That's right. So we're here because it's Men's Health Month, and you use the word sacrifice a few times in describing your role as a firefighter and those FDNY firefighters that went into the towers. But you also made a sacrifice yourself in sharing your story about a health scare that could have ended your life. So let's watch that video, and then we'll talk about that on the other side. Volume. Producer, the volume, we don't hear anything. Well, looks like we have some technical difficulties. All right, so we'll go without the video.
Okay.
I posted it, and we'll reshare it. So why don't you describe what happened, and then we'll go into it.
So on August 30th, I was actually going to teach at the local fire academy, which is my secondary job after, firefighters, most of them have two jobs. And I was walking in to teach, and a couple of people saw me and didn't think something was right, that my color was a little off, and something was off about me. So it was funny because I am a captain. Some people were scared to come up to me. And finally, a lieutenant from Sunrise that I've known for many, many years, very respected lieutenant over there, actually walked up to me and said, "Hey, Cap, you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, everything's fine. What's going on?" He says, "A couple of people saw you. Said you look a little pale. Mind if I check you out a little bit?" And I'm like, "No, I'm fine. I'm just tired, man. I worked a lot this week." And he's like, I know you. Something's off. Can we just get you checked out and make me feel better?" I'm like, "All right, fine." So took my vital signs, put me on the EKG. Everything was okay. I felt fine. Just a little tired, a little run down. I worked a lot that week. I had an overtime shift. I was at the academy, 3-4 days in a row. And, just a normal every day, just like anyone else would think that they're tired. Right. So the chief of the fire academy came up to me and said, "Listen, man, I don't want to order you to go to the hospital, but it would make all of us here feel a lot better if you went to the hospital. And if it comes down to getting ordered, it comes down to getting ordered. So now when a chief comes to a captain, it's time that we really need to think about, the chain of command in that particular case." Went over to the hospital, got checked into the ER. So there's an enzyme that's released when your heart muscle has started to die. It's called troponin. Normal troponin level should be less than 0.02. And my troponin was 0.44.
Wow.
I had all of the CKMB positives and EKG abnormalities with a posterior wall of my. They did
what is CKMB?
It's a special enzyme that is released when specifically the heart muscle dies, because the heart has something called automaticity, and those are the enzymes that create that automaticity. So when you have a positive CKMB with an elevated troponin, you are actually having an active myocardial infarction, so a heart attack.
Wow.
So after that enzyme came around,
you were actively having a heart attack.
I was actively having an MI at the time. I went to the ER. Wow. They did an echocardiogram. They found where the blockages was. I was actually emergency transferred to North Broward Medical Center for an emergency catheterization by Dr. Osman. When Dr. Osman got there, he says, we're going to go in, we're going to fix whatever needs to be fixed, and you're going to be up and going. And, I was, because of my child, I was,
you had a lot to think about.
I was a little scared.
Yeah.
I was a little scared. So,
did you have an opportunity to call your wife?
The doctor called my wife. Actually, the lieutenant called my wife and told him what was going on.
Okay.
And he says, "Don't worry, we're gonna take care of it." And I went into emergency catheterization. He put 2 stents in my heart, one on the ramus, which is a posterior aspect, and then another on an artery in my posterior area of the heart, an artery there, to increase blood flow to that. I was in there for about 45 minutes or so. Dr. Osman said he was very surprised to see how much heart disease I did have, especially the way I look and my regiment in, exercise and being a firefighter. I was in cardiac ICU for 5 days. They had to walk me around. They had to do things. I was on 5 or 6 different IV drips and pumps. I couldn't even take a real shower because I was on so many different medications, it was a very, very rough time in my life.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's terrible. How soon afterwards were you able to see your wife and child?
So because of COVID, and because I had a small child at home, I told my wife to stay home, and we did a lot of, again, the sacrifice that we make, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So we did a lot of FaceTiming, and I wanted to see my daughter and hold my daughter so bad. It was a very difficult time when you're sitting in the hospital and you can't see your baby.
Yeah. So this was in the midst of COVID, which makes it a whole lot tougher. That's,
it was right in the beginning part. The vaccines weren't even available yet. Everything was on lockdown.
Wow. Well, it was great that so many people within the fire academy were able to recognize the signs and, pretty much, say, hey, we believe this is in your best interest. Please do us a favor and go get checked out. So those guys really played a significant role in saving your life.
Oh, absolutely. They're my lifesavers. They're family for life. I talk to him weekly. The lieutenant who actually, had the courage to walk up to me and say something actually won the Broward County Paramedic of the Year for that, because, it went up the chain of command instead of down the chain of command.
Right.
And for him to have the courage to say something to me, meant 1,000% in my book. He's now my family. I call him my lifesaver, and he'll always be that. And my family is extremely grateful for that.
Wow. So Dr. Sussman, did your primary doctor, was somebody able to say, this heart disease happened over time, or it happened due to stress? What caused the buildup to the heart disease?
So there was a couple different factors that my doctor, and I have now a cardiologist, Dr. Perloff, as well as Dr. Khalil Khan, which is, 2 amazing doctors. Both of them, came up with the same exact assumption, is that the lack of sleep, the inconsistency in diets, the stress of the job, created a situation where plaque would build up. And, I understand other jobs might not have as much stress as a firefighter job, but it's stress nonetheless. And, we definitely need to do a lot better job in de-stressing and not bringing work home and do things like that, because, I have no history of heart in my whole family on both sides. So I am the first of my generation to actually have a heart issue. And so they were sort of ruled out hereditary right off the get-go. They did a couple testing on the clots that were actually pulled out. They were built up over time. And, that's just compounded by the stress, lack of sleep, the inconsistency in diet, the poor diet. I used to drink a lot of Mountain Dew because of the reasoning is I would work a 24-hour shift. I would go to teach for a couple hours after that. So my days were 36 hours long.
Wow.
So I needed the caffeine, but obviously caffeine is not very, very good for you. And all that excessive empty calories and sugar from the Mountain Dew, obviously contributed to my particular type of situation.
So you didn't have so work-life balance was an issue that contributed to the heart condition.
Yes, unfortunately that's the case. Yeah. And a
And
lot of us do.
as you know, men, we like to take things on, whether it's one job, two jobs, helping a friend, build their house or do something. We're always taking on a lot. So what is your message to the men out there who are just out there pounding the pavement, working hard every day, drinking coffee every day, Mountain Dew, Coke, something to get the calories going? Because we know we're tired and we know we need rest, but instead of getting rest, we get caffeine.
Right. So I would tell you that I lived that life, and
Yeah.
it got me 2 stents and 5 days in the cardiac ICU, walking around, pushing a pole with IVs that were keeping my heart going.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just picture that if you can. You can Google a picture of that. You don't want that.
Yeah.
So that life management, that, stress management, that anything that you need to do to have life balance, you need to do. And that starts with, stress at work, leave it at work. You're there for 40 hours, deal with it in your 40 hours. When you come home, you de-stress, you spend time with your family, you do things that make you happy.
Right.
The next thing I would say is look at your diet. My diet was on the go. I was, 24-hour shift. I roll, I grab Burger King or McDonald's. I go teach. Then I go grab a La Spada sub, and then I go teach some more. And then I come home and I try to eat a healthy dinner. You're not going to have that. You need to make sure that you have a healthy diet, because if you don't have a healthy diet, you're not feeding the machine what it needs.
Right.
And then the next thing I could tell you right now, especially as firefighters, from firefighter to a firefighter or a person who runs a night shift, and Commissioner Gelin, your mother did the night shift as a nurse for many, many years.
Yes.
The lack of sleep just hurts your body, whether it's going to be from an immune, a neurological standpoint, or in my case, a cardiovascular standpoint. If you're not getting a consistent 7-8 hours of sleep a day, you are not giving your body enough time to recoup. And you're only going to have more and more medical problems. So those are the three things that I could say to anyone who's in my shoes. And a lot of men are in my shoes.
Yes.
You're providing for your family. You want to be a good provider. You're pulling the second job. You're pulling some overtime shifts. You're doing what you can to put food on the table and to maybe take your family to Disney, and that costs extra money and things like that. But at the cost of your body breaking down. It's not a fair comparison. Your family will want you around instead of your money every time.
Absolutely. So how are you feeling now? How's your health now?
So I feel great now. I've gone with a cardiac diet. I do no dairy. I do no processed meats. I do healthy vegetables. I do red meat once a week just to get some of my iron back. I do a lot of chicken and fish. I do a lot of different types of protein shakes. So when I feel hungry, and we all have that in-between period where we want to feel hungry and we want to go ahead and throw down some empty calories like potato chips or something like that, I do a protein bar. So I try to make my regimen every day. I have at least 3 proteins, which that'd be chicken, fish, or maybe even a double up of chicken. And that's most of the time what I do. And then I go ahead and add a protein bar and a protein shake into that. Also, I try to do cardio every day, but some days I'm relatively busy. But be honest with you, you can actually do air squats or do something like that, 15 minutes. And that's a decent amount to get your heart rate up. For me, I need to do more cardio than I do to do muscle. So I went a little bit less on the weights, and I've done a lot more with the cardio. I have a HIIT training machine where we do high intensity interval training. I'll go 14 minutes high intensity and 14 minutes low intensity. So a 28 minutes total. And, I am dog tired after that. I also did 36 sessions of cardiac rehab. So that's,
What was that like? What was that like?
So cardiac rehab is an animal that I don't recommend to anybody. Right. So it's an hour of actually cardiovascular training. You're on an EKG machine and you rotate between 3 machines. You rotate between the stair stepper, the treadmill, and the bike. And so you do anywhere from 21 minutes each on the side, and then a 2-minute cool down in between. But what they want to do is they want to get you your target heart rate and keep it there for about 30 minutes. So the cardiac rehab that I went to was at Broward General. They were amazing. Everyone there was super amazing. some of the days that I went in there that I was dogging it, they were encouraging me to come on, man, let's do better, do better. It's for your daughter. We want your heart good. We want your heart good. You know, they didn't have to do that. And I felt like, you know, I was family there when I went there. If I felt like I was a part of their family and they were pushing me that hard. So if unfortunately you do have to do any type of cardiac rehab, I would definitely recommend Broward General. I still actually go there every once in a while just to work out, just to see them and make sure, you know, they're all good over there. I did 36 sessions, sometimes anywhere from 2 hours to 4 hours some days.
Wow. So really exercising your heart.
Yeah, really, really exercising your heart. I threw some weights in there just because, you know, it's also good to get some of the, you know, muscle fiber or those fast twitch muscles, some type of exercise. So I didn't want to go just straight up legs and cardio because, you know, you're on the treadmill, the stepper, that you're building a lot of legs. So I wanted to make sure that my body was going to be proportioned. So I did start working out my upper body, and I got a lot of good benefits from that. You know, exhausting training and hit training and things like that. So as for now, you know, I feel that I'm really good. I feel that I'm in a good place. I feel that I'm really, really healthy right now. Obviously, I'm 48 now. So, you know, I still have the 48-year-old problems, you know, a little bit of arthritis here and there, a little bit of pain in the back and stuff like that. But right now I'm doing very, very well.
Okay. So it sounds like you fix your diet. You adjusted your exercise program. I didn't hear about the work-life balance. Tell me how you adjusted the work-life balance.
So the work-life balance is something that, you know, it's a work in progress with me.
Okay.
So I've been a teacher for a very, very long time, and I've been I was with the fire department for a very, very long time. And you know, the work-life balance for me is going to be basically I'm going to go ahead and matriculate into a administrative role, not be on shift, spend some more time with my family, do a lot of the different things that are going to make that work-life balance, you know, beneficial, not only from the healthy standpoint, but the mental standpoint as well.
Right.
You know, being a chief would take on a little bit more stress, but, you know, nothing that I can't handle while I'm there at the department for the 40 hours a week that I'm going to work. So, you know, now my schedule is, you know, a work shift. I teach, I go to teach again, I work my shift, and then I try to take the weekends off. And sometimes, you know, they call me in for a class on the weekends that I'm one of the only people that can teach. So, you know, I decided with my family and myself and, you know, my wife, my parents, my in-laws, we all decided that it's time for me to, you know, not be on do the shift work and work 24 and just go ahead into a normal day, to spend more time with my family, to spend more time with my daughter, who's only 20 months, that's going to, you know, grow up and know that their dad was a firefighter. But I also want to be there when they grow up, because you're going to, you know, being on shift and you have children as well. And with a lucrative business, you know, you miss a lot when you're either being on shift or working at the office. And, you know, for me, I had children a little bit later than you, but you did have a child later as well. And I don't want to miss any of those things, because I waited so long to have a child. And then now, you know, I want to make sure that I'm there for everything. So for me, the work-life balance is no more 24-hour shifts and really no more teaching. I'm just going to go ahead and do my 40-hour week. At 5 o'clock, at 5:01, it's family chin and not chief chin.
That's right. Okay. So I heard from our producer that the video is now working. So let's go to that. All right. I still don't hear audio. Is it playing on Facebook or some other platform? Maybe they can hear and we just can't hear. Okay. All right. I guess not. All right. So you talked about how your life changed in this incident, and you're making life changes and adjusting to that. How has it changed in terms of your family or your friends now watching their diet more, because this is up close and personal for them?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, within my family alone, with my parents, my in-laws, my wife, my daughter, and myself, we actually have try to adapt a healthy diet, very low salt, very low fat, no empty calories and things like that. We actually go on walks and do a lot more of the exercising that we should have been doing in the beginning before my incident. But this just reiterated that everybody needs to be doing those particular types of things. From my lifestyle, we have to do a little bit of change. A lot of the restaurants that we used to go to don't have very healthy, options. So now we found other areas that we can do that's more healthy options. No empty calories, no excessive amount of sugars. I was a big dessert guy prior to this. My wife is a dessert person as well. So we've, we didn't get it out completely. We still have our cheat days, which we're entitled to, per the most of these plans, right? But we definitely don't do as much as we used to do. A lot of the stuff that we're buying now, organics, naturals, all those things, no preservatives, no dairy, no processed foods, anything like that, which was a mainstay in our diet because we were always on the go. And I think it's a diet for a lot of people that are always on the go that are relatively busy as well. So we looked at ourselves and said, we got to get a little bit better and we got to get a little bit more healthy. And, my family has been extremely supportive. I know some of the foods that I have to eat is not really the tastiest food, but they've adapted to it. And, it works out best for the whole family because everyone, will be healthier and hopefully everybody will live longer to see, our children do whatever they want to do, in life.
That's right. And we want to see our children's children. Looks like we have a question from Facebook. Anthony Edwards, he's asking, do you take a sleep aid? And how do you get enough rest with your high personal and professional demands?
So, it's funny. A lot of people think firefighters take sleep aid. You know what our sleep aid is? Actually running calls. By the end of the day, running 10, 15 calls and then laying down, you just want to lay down and get some rest. Right. So that's a great question. A lot of firefighters don't need to take any sleep aids because I'll tell you right now, we're so busy that our natural sleep aid is hard work and what we've done. As for the question about getting enough rest, I probably don't. I mean, I'll be completely honest with you. And that's probably led me to where I'm at right now, having a couple stents, taking 8 medications on a daily basis. And you really need to make sure from your professional and personal life that, you get yourself enough sleep. We all demand a lot out of ourselves, and we demand a lot of the people around us. But we make too many excuses of why we don't take care of ourselves. But yet we will make sure that my daughter gets, 10 hours of sleep. We make sure that my wife gets to bed early because she's got to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. But yet we don't follow the same thing in ourselves. And I think that it's a difficult balance to go ahead and with a personal life and a professional life. But you have to draw the line and say, listen, I'm going to bed at 10 o'clock because I have to wake up at 7 o'clock. And that's it. Too many of us sit there, start watching TV, start playing on our phones, start doing things, and we make excuses why not to take care of ourselves. And we have to take care of ourselves, or else you're going to be, in cardiac ICU like I was.
Can you talk about the career decision you made as a result of your health going into your 25th year?
Yeah. So my career decision, I have 25 years. I'm eligible for retirement at the end of next month. And I'm going to go ahead and retire and move on to an administrative job. And for me, from a professional position, I thought it would be best for myself. It would be best for my family, and it would be best for my health. Why I say that is working a 24-hour shift, then going to teach at the fire academy for an additional, 10 hours makes my day start off with 34 hours straight. And, most people work that, in 5 days, and I work that in 2. Yeah. So for me, it was a hard decision to make because I will always be a firefighter. I'll always be a captain. I will always want to run those calls and protect the citizens of Tamarac. But, when your body tells you that you might need to consider this, you need to consider it. Yeah. And too many times our body is telling us things, and we make excuses of what it's not, but what it is. We should be making excuses for what it is, not for what it's not.
So you're making a big financial sacrifice by not working an additional 5 years, getting the full 30 years, and having a richer retirement plan. So you're truly choosing your health over dollars.
That is correct. I am losing in the area of, if you add up 5 years of salary and a drop, I'm losing in the area of $1.3 million.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
huge.
it's huge.
That's huge.
But what's the use of having $1.3 million if you're not around to actually spend it?
Right. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a big sacrifice. That's tough. So you gave a little bit of your recommendation and making sure men get their annual physical on a yearly basis, regardless of how good you feel. But to especially go if there is a sign that they don't feel good, because you were not willing, you didn't on your own decide, you know what, I don't feel good, I'm going to go to the hospital. You were encouraged. So talk about what would you advise men who try to tough things out?
So I know where you're at
Yeah.
because I was there.
Yeah.
Okay. I know we want to try to provide. I know you want to be that manly figure. I know you want to be that man of men. But
Yes.
let me tell you right now, from experience, and you know my story, that is not the case. Okay. We need more help than others.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that we need more help than others it has been proven that women take better care of themselves. Men do not take as good care of themselves as women. It is proven that we make more excuses than we have, reasons. And we look at ourselves and say, this can't happen to me because I'm fit. I played ball. I work out. I do this and I do that. I've been having the same regimen for 20 years. And let me tell you, I've had the same regiment for 20 years. I'm all of those things and a firefighter. And I had a MI that could have costed me my life. So when you do have that, even if it's a pseudo sign and symptom, something that has no factors whatsoever, get checked out. We make more excuses to not getting checked out when we need to be making more excuses to be getting checked out. Right. Most everybody has insurance. Most everyone can go to a walk-in clinic. Just get your basic stuff done. Get your yearly physicals. If it's something that they can fix, they'll fix it right away. Yeah. And if it's something that they can't fix right away, they'll give you a long-term plan to get it fixed. But if you never know it's there, how can you even address it?
Yeah. Very good. Very good. Captain Chin, we really appreciate your time, you sharing your story. One more question, a little bit off topic. Unfortunately, you have people in society that believe rumors, and in the Asian American community, there's been random attacks of Asian people because of the coronavirus. Have you been safe and protected? And have you seen any of that? We haven't seen any real reports of that in the South Florida community. How are you feeling?
I feel relatively safe. And you know what? I'm one of those type of people that I look for the good in people instead of looking for the bad. And I think the people that are, blaming the Asian population for things are just uneducated people. They just don't know what the true facts are. And I understand that. I get that. And I don't, I obviously don't condone any type of violence, but I understand where they're coming from. But you know what? If you do have that inclination that you feel that, the Asian population has been, a major player in what's been going on in the pandemic, you know what? Google it. Find out, just educate yourself first. And if you still feel that way after that, then you have the right to do that. Our forefathers fought for your right and your opinions. And that's what you're going to do. And I understand that. But a lot of the times that we see these, senseless violence is because the people are just uneducated to the cause and what actually did happen.
Absolutely. And the fact that viruses can come out of anywhere in the world, and the scientific community is there to help us fight these viruses. So I'm really glad that Biden signed that order to protect the Asian community. And we're so happy to have you in the city of Tamarac protecting and taking care of the citizens in our community.
I'm happy to be here.
And I'm really happy for you in terms of your health status right now, and the fact that you're willing to share your story to educate the community and let them know, hey, this can happen to me, it can happen to you. I'm here to help you by sharing my life as a sacrifice. So that's very honorable.
Thank you, sir. And I appreciate you, giving me the time on your very busy podcast to do that. A lot of people don't understand what goes on in the background of something like this. And, how better to get our story out is to put it on this podcast with a reputable commissioner in the city of Tamarac. And hopefully, a lot of people hear this and, heed those signs and symptoms and go get you checked out.
Absolutely. So I've already shared your story on Nextdoor and other social media platforms. We'll share it again tonight, the story that you did. So thank you for sharing it with CBS. So you not only shared your story with the Tamarac community, but the entire South Florida community. And I'm sure lives were touched based on your story. And I really appreciate that.
Thank you very much. And I was honored for them to actually contact me when Broward Health said this is Heart Week, and what better to be a spokesman than a firefighter recovering in our rehab center. So it was an amazing journey. It was an amazing thing that they did. And I'm honored that I was actually, chosen to do that. And I'm honored to be on your podcast. Yeah.
And I'm sure Father's Day will have an extra special meeting for you this coming Sunday.
Yeah, my second Father's Day with my daughter. So the first one was amazing. She got me a journal, a book with all of our pictures and everything drawn. Nice. I gotta let you know, I cried a little bit when I saw it. So absolutely. My second one is going to be good too.
That's good. Well, thank you so much. I look forward to meeting you in person, since we haven't met in person yet, and look forward to seeing you soon.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Have a great night.
You too.
Bye-bye. So thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. That was a great story by our great captain, Tony Chin, who shared a personal story that, it's important for all of us. I mean, a lot of us, especially as males, we think we're invincible, or we try to tough things out in terms of pain. We don't follow the necessary signs, and a lot of us don't do the basics and just get an annual physical, talk to our doctor, and make sure we fully understand our health status. Where's our blood pressure? Where's our cholesterol numbers? Where's our sugar numbers? And make sure we take care of ourselves. So for the Tamarac community, we have some great events coming up. On Saturday, we have Juneteenth, an event coming up really for our kids. Tamarac also has a first-time home buyers assistance program where we will give qualified people up to $40,000 for their first-time home buyer program. You cannot have owned a home in the last 3 years. The property must be located in the city of Tamarac. A minimum of a 1% down payment is required, and funds are awarded for a 15-year interest-free deferral loan. We also have the Tamarac Food Pantry, which is available on the first and second Thursday of every month. Independence Day is normally celebrated on the 4th of July, but in Tamarac, we're going to celebrate it on the 2nd of July because we cannot get a vendor to do fireworks on the 4th of July because of the pandemic, supplies, a lot of reasons we couldn't get it done on the 4th. So we're going to celebrate on the 2nd. And you know what? It rains a lot on the 4th. So maybe we'll have a dry day on the 2nd and people may not celebrate on the 4th. And then finally, on Saturday, January 26th, I'm going to have a panel discussion with some immigration attorneys to talk about citizenship in the city of Tamarac. What does it take to become a citizen? We know we have some lawful permanent residents in the city of Tamarac who need to take steps to become a U.S. citizen. And we're going to have some attorneys on staff to talk about it. And then later on in the year, in September, we're going to have an actual forum so that people can come meet the attorneys one-on-one and have their applications reviewed. So thank you for joining me tonight on Conversations with the Commissioner, and we'll see you sometime next month. And a special thank you to our wonderful captain, Tony Chin. We wish him well in his retirement, and we wish him a healthy future. Thank you and have a great evening.